Hello, everybody. Hopefully you are able to see me. Just bear with me one wee second while I start the presentation. Um, you're all very welcome to our information session this afternoon, and this is your space to find out more about our new leadership programme funded by the National Lottery Community Fund. We've had a great response to the programme, and for us, what's really important is that the 30 leaders that we ultimately select and work with on this programme, that they're walking into it with their eyes wide open, understanding the possibilities that this presents and also recognising the commitment that is involved. So my two outcomes that I want for everyone in our virtual room today is to have a clear understanding of the commitment that is involved and a clear understanding of the opportunity that this programme presents. And the focus of our new leadership programme is on building the financial resilience of leaders. And how we propose to do this is through a tailored mentoring programme, coupled with a range of training programmes. And for us, it's about creating a culture of learning and sharing across the cohort over an 18-month timeframe. Just some quick housekeeping for those of you who are not familiar with the Remo platform. On your right-hand side, you'll see the chat function and the list of participants and the Q&A. Also, when we're not in present mode, you have the opportunity to network. You can move around the table. So when you automatically come into the platform, you're assigned the table, so you can move around. You just hover over a table and double click, and if there's a free space, then you can pop over and say hello. We will be recording the session today, although we'll only be recording the present mode, this mode here. The conversations at the tables will not be recorded. So as I'm walking you through the details of the programme, please feel free to add any comments in the chat function that you have and any questions that you have in the Q&A, and in that way we'll be able to answer hopefully all of the questions that you raise. We'll also stop for a break midway through, and it's an opportunity for you to digest all the information that I'm about to share with you, and then we'll come back for a final Q&A. I am using PowerPoint today, so you can make the PowerPoint bigger by clicking on the 4 arrows shaped on the square on the top right hand side of the PowerPoint slide, if that makes it easier for you to see. So we will make a start, and we'll start by providing you with the context for this programme, why it's needed. And I suppose for many of you in the room, the need for this programme probably doesn't need to be explained in too much detail, as you'll have first-hand experience of the challenges of creating a more sustainable footing for your charity or your social enterprise. Ultimately, income generation is the lifeblood of our sector. If we don't have the funding in place, our doors close and our services stop. It is the biggest challenge facing our sector, and the financial pressures. It's top of the charts for most chief executives, the constant worry about making ends meet. And even before the pandemic hit, I know there were a significant number of members who are in a constant state of vulnerability because of their financial position, living year to year with funding cuts and funding uncertainty. And of course, a large part of this does sit outside of our control, and it's driven by the external environment. You know, we as a sector have a high reliance on public sector funding, and unfortunately the nature of public sector funding is mostly short term, tied to specific project outputs, and doesn't cover indirect costs. And in turn, then it can be difficult to invest adequately in your people and systems over time. And then subsequently, over a sustained period of time, that takes its toll. There's also bureaucracy attached to public sector funding, the admin and the lack of flexibility to make changes. And it has created power imbalances between the funder and funded. And of course, against this is the backdrop of a marked increase in demand for services. So with years of sustained cuts or no uplifts in funding, then it makes delivering services more challenging and very often not done on a full cost recovery basis. So inevitably, this approach has resulted in less funding available to invest in your core infrastructure. So it becomes a vicious cycle of short-term funding, and with that paints a picture of an under-resourced sector set against a difficult income generation environment surrounded by prolonged uncertainty. And of course, having a high resilience on one or two sources of income creates a vulnerable environment too. And COVID-19 has has exposed organisations who have a high reliance on community and event fundraising, and they're now recognising that they need to do something different in order to be able to survive and continue. And just overall, the pandemic has created this whole new layer of uncertainty that we're all trying to lead and navigate through. And while everyone recognises the pressures of the unknown, leaders are also grappling with the what next and questions of sustainability, when funders and commissioning partners may not be in a position to have those conversations. So for us, supporting resilience and providing support to help leaders find new and creative ways has become even more important now than ever. Um, and it is important to recognise that the news isn't all bad. There are some encouraging signs. There are some green shoots out there. There are opportunities emerging for sector leaders to help shape the recovery landscape, to start conversations and to build new and stronger cross-sectoral relationships. We've dormant accounts that recently opened at £20 million odd fund focused on sustainability and capacity building. And for us, the timing of dormant, although that we've waited a really long time for dormant opening, it's timely for us with our new leadership program, because as for the 30 selected leaders on this program, as they identify opportunities then and they recognise the need more resources in order to progress those, there's the opportunity to apply to dormant alongside this. So down to the details of our program. So ultimately, over an 18-month timeframe, we will select up to 30 leaders to lead them on a journey of transformation, transforming their income model. We believe we can improve the offer to our sector through development of a tailored mentoring program that focuses on providing leaders with a mentor over an 18-month period in order to develop and enhance their fundraising and income generation skills. Through this program of intensive tailored support, we'll build the income generation skills of leaders, raising their confidence and their financial resilience, the financial resilience of the organisations. As far as we're aware, this is the first program of its kind in Northern Ireland and offers tailored support with the production, starting with the production of an income generation strategy, and then over that 18-month period, it will be implementing it. Each mentee will be assigned a mentor to step them through the development and the implementation of their income generation strategy. And alongside this, there will be a range of training designed in order to offer additional support. So bringing in different areas of expertise and experience. We have a budget to design that training. There's some courses that we have set up already, but in a large part, we want to wait and co-design those with the wider cohort. We also want to create a culture of learning and sharing. The cohort of mentors and the mentees will be stepping through this program together. So we want to ensure that we create opportunities for that cohort to share experiences and reflections and offer practical support and motivation to one another throughout this. And there's real power in the 30 leaders of those organizations on this journey together. Of course, your journey is going to be different, but there will be that opportunity to come together and learn and share from one another, which will be a really powerful element of the program. And then at the end of the 18-month program, the mentee becomes the mentor, paying forward. So all of the support, all of the information they've downloaded from their mentor, they give back, supporting that culture of generous leadership. It also provides a mentee, when they step into the role of mentor, with the opportunity to reinforce everything that they've learned from being part of the program. So we have 6 high-level outcomes that we want to achieve through this program, and I'll run through those really quickly. So it's to build and strengthen the income generation skills of leaders in the third sector. It's to build and strengthen the sustainability and resilience of charities in Northern Ireland, thereby protecting key services they provide. It's about the development and implementation of an income generation strategy and building confidence, capacity and knowledge for up to 30 leaders over an 18-month timeframe. It's about carrying out a strategic audit of the charity and activities relating to income generation. So as much as looking at the opportunities outside of the organisation, there's also an opportunity to look inside, looking at your financial management systems, keeping a strong check on your expenditure as well. So carrying out an internal SWOT. The creation of a longer term view to income generation within the charity sector, and cultivating a culture of generous leadership through the development of a mentoring program based on giving forward. So those are our 6 high level outcomes. So for us, this is an opportunity for transformational organisational change whilst growing the leadership skills of those involved. This isn't window dressing. This is an opportunity for real change. Therefore, the recruitment and selection of our mentors and mentees is going to be fundamental to its success. We will recruit leaders and senior managers within organisations who have the support of the board and the support of the broader leadership team, who see this programme as an opportunity to change, to bring in new sources of income and to maximise existing income streams. Leaders who recognise the need of change and have the appetite for risk and the courage to make the changes that they'll ultimately result in a more financially sound model for their organisation. So we're already oversubscribed for the program, which we knew would always be the case. So for us, the selection of our mentees and our mentors will be critical. So it will be based on prioritising leaders who have an appetite to change and have an appetite for risk, because there will be an element of calculated risk that will be involved in whenever you're looking at a different and new income model for your organisation. There will be a huge commitment that will be involved. So it's the individual's commitment and the organisational commitment. So although you'll have one mentee, ultimately, this isn't down to one individual to transform the income model within the organisation. There has to be the full buy-in of the board and the wider team in order to make real change. We'll also be supporting leaders of smaller organisations who can't afford to buy the support in for themselves. And that's something that the National Lottery, as part of our application process, really emphasised to us, is about supporting those organisations who couldn't afford to buy this in for themselves. And of course, what we'll try to do as well is have a strong geographical and subsector representation, though we have to be realistic. This is a relatively small group, but we'll be as representative as possible. For us, though, what's really important is the commitment side, and is the buy-in of both board and staff. In terms of the mentors, the selection of our mentors will be of equal importance. We'll select mentors who have lived experience of building a more sustainable income model for their organisations. Mentors who are innovative, creative, and who are willing to take the time out to download all of their experiences, to share their contacts, to share their connections, and to offer that positive challenge function that we all need from time to time in order to shift mindsets. So for many of you in this room, you have lived and breathed, you live and breathe your job. And sometimes it's hard to see what's under your nose, to be objective. So the benefit of bringing in somebody external to work with you and to hold your hand through this process, bring in fresh eyes, fresh thinking, is a really powerful element of the programme. So for us, the particular skill set that we will focus on in terms of our mentors will be experience in social entrepreneurship, contract tendering, corporate partnerships, legacy, big gift campaigns, grant makers and foundations, and individual giving. And for us, it is leaders who have lived experience of this, leaders who, despite a difficult funding environment, have managed to create a more sustainable footing for their organisation. We also recognise that mentees may need a mixture of support, and our mentors, they're not, all of them aren't going to hold necessarily all of the answers that you have. They don't have superpowers. So the opportunity to mix and match. So it could be that you identify at the start of this an opportunity for a a social enterprise and you want to explore that with a social entrepreneur. And it could be that that journey takes you over an 8-month period. But in parallel to that, you're also seeing an opportunity maybe to explore corporate partnerships as an opportunity to bring in more fundraising. So there's an opportunity to work with different mentors with different skill sets at different stages with you on your 18-month journey. Our mentors will have the opportunity to either mentor 1 or 2 mentees, and it will ultimately depend on the matching process and what the particular needs are from our mentees at that time. We anticipate that each mentoring session will last about 2 hours on a monthly basis over an 18-month time frame. Now, of course, there will be flexibility with that, and it could be that you're going through a really intensive time of maybe setting up a social business as part of that, so you're going to need more support from your mentor, but then recognize then that there'll be less support further down the line. But that flexibility is there, and of course we're on hand in the background to support you in whatever way we can. So that matching process will be really, really critical. And for us to decide on who gets matched with who, for lots of you, you've already completed your register of interest forms, and if you haven't and want to be part of this program, you need to do so by the 12th of February. Informed conversations with both mentees and mentors as part of the selection process. We've also organised a meet and greet session for those individuals that we will have selected. And again, it's an opportunity for you to meet with a range of other mentees and mentors, and that will help us to decide who would be the best person for you to be matched with as a mentor. We've also organised 2 workshops, one for our mentors and one for our mentees. And again, it's for you to understand your role as a mentee in this program. And ultimately, the relationship will be driven by the mentee. The mentors are to support, to suggest, to encourage the actions, and the deliverables will rest with the mentee and, of course, with the wider leadership team within their organisation. And for us as well, the opportunity to build a community of learning and support is going to be a really important element of the program. So you have your monthly meetings with your mentors. There'll be virtual meetups as well at different times throughout the wider cohort. We'll also set up a cloud-based system where we can share templates that we feel that other mentees and mentors would benefit from. And of course, then being able to access that wider mentor pool and bring in different experience and expertise as and when you need it. And then the training. So we've designed 2 training programs so far. The first is developing an income generation strategy, and that's the blueprint in terms of developing your income generation strategy with your mentor. And then the financial analysis of your charity, is your organization financially sound? And that's looking internally for you to be able to carry out an internal audit to make sure that your financial management systems and your expenditure, you've got a good handle on those. Through the conversations I had with some of the potential mentors, they had said that whenever they'd gone into their organizations, they'd identified tens of thousands of pounds worth of saving from expenditure, money that was going out the window that just over time just wasn't given the consideration that it needed to be. So we felt those 2 training programs initially are really important. The remainder of the training sessions, they'll be designed by you guys. So for us, it'll be the mentees and the mentors coming to us and saying, we would really value a training program on how to communicate our impact better, or how do we develop a digital strategy for fundraising, or how do we connect back better with corporates. We want to wait and design the remainder of the training with you. And then ultimately, the mentee becoming the mentor provides that opportunity for the mentee then to share everything that they have learned on their 18-month journey with a new cohort of mentees. And for us, we see that as a really important element of the program. In terms of the key dates, and we'll be sending you through the slides, so don't be worrying about making a note of them all now, and hopefully you'll have seen them all on the website as well. So by the 19th of February, we will hopefully be in a position where we will have recruited all of our mentors and mentees. We are oversubscribed, so unfortunately, I'll not be able to work with everybody in our virtual room today, and that will be one of the most challenging aspects of this for us. For those that we have selected, we'll organise a meet and greet session for the mentors and the mentees to come together and start to build up that relationship, which will be a core element of this programme. And then we will have our mentors and mentees matched by the 5th of March. And prior to that, into that formal introduction, we'll send you through a summary profile of your mentor. And of course, what we'll bear in mind as well as part of that matching process are any conflicts of interest. So if we've accidentally matched you with your brother-in-law or whatever, then obviously that's a potential challenge. We've the developing an income generation strategy on the 11th of March. It's a full day, but it's a really important training program which will provide you with the blueprint in terms of how you can develop a different approach to income generation. And then we have mentoring information workshop and a mentee information workshop. We're saying 2 hours. It probably won't take 2 hours. But again, it's just an opportunity for the mentees to really understand what their roles and responsibilities are as part of the programme, and the same for our mentors as well. And then if all goes according to plan, our mentors relationship commences on the 22nd of March, and then from there you have your monthly meetings, and we'll have a series then of touch points where we can come together and share information with the wider group. We'll also be touching in with you as well, both the mentees and the mentors, and asking you to share your experiences through blogs and vlogs, so that that the wider sector has access to your learning, which in turn might support them on their leadership journey. So if you haven't and you're still interested in being part of this leadership program, you need to register your interest by the 12th of February. I know many of you in the room have, but for those who haven't and want to take part, it's really important that you do that. So we're going to take a short break now, and we'll break for about 10-15 minutes odd, and it's an opportunity just for you to digest at your tables everything that I have shared with you. What are your thoughts on your program? Is there anything that we've missed that you feel should be included? And ultimately, what is your motivation for becoming a mentee, if that is still still your intention? So I will stop sharing and go back to table view, and I'll get round some of the tables, but not all of them. But again, any questions that anybody may have, please put them in the Q&A. Okay, so present view off.